What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to today's edition of Free Tool Friday. My name is Tyler S. Clark, and I'm going to be your guide as we go through one of the most critical elements to increase the likelihood that one of your dream prospective clients invests in the value of you and your services. Because here's the crux of the issue of sales in the service world, right? You're getting ready to deliver a high quality service, whether it's accounting, bookkeeping, or tax. And when you're speaking to someone at the end of the day, at the end of that presentation, when you give that quote, when you give that proposal, you know what they're really wondering? Can I trust you? And you may have all the credentials in the world. You may have the full alphabet in front of your name, right? You may have everything that says, but I've proven myself. I even have a great website. I've got a great social media presence. I conducted myself well on this call. I gave you a fair and reasonable quote. You may have done everything right to be able to build trust so that they are ready to prove that they trust you. And you know how people prove that they really trust you in the business world? It's with plastic, it's with money, it's by making that investment. So how do we just get a little bit closer to that? Because again, do they trust you? Because you're asking for their hard-earned cash. And sure, I want to believe you. I would love to believe you on your promise, but the other accountant, they kind of said the same thing when I got ready to buy from them. And as you saw, when you looked in my QBO file, my records are a mess because of them. May be true, may not be true, might be the client's fault. We're not here to assign blame. But the point is they say, well, you sound just like the other person I just interviewed, and I'm trying to compare you against them. And I'm not sure which of you to trust. And you sound like the person who burned me before, and you sound like the other person I just interviewed. So what's going to make a difference here? A guarantee. A guarantee is your way of being able to reverse the risk associated with the service industry. You essentially are saying, listen, if for some reason what I'm saying is untrue, I've got your back. And most accounting firms and accounting professionals are not offering guarantees in any way, shape, or form. So if you've got option A and you've got option B, or firm A and firm B, and firm A and firm B are basically the same, right? And that's not to say you guys are the same, but in the prospect's mind, they're saying, I'm not really seeing the difference. And firm B goes, well, wait a minute. Did you know that we offer a guarantee? And I'll give you some great examples of some really powerful guarantees in just a second here. Do you know that we offer a guarantee on our services? Well, the other firm didn't offer a guarantee. Now, all of a sudden, you've elevated the level of trust, create and elevate. You've elevated the level of trust that the prospective client perceives, right? When we talk about value, one of the things that we never really seem to really talk about in the conversation of value is perception, right? Like what you see is reality. Like what you perceive is true. And so if you can increase perceived value, if you can increase perceived trust, by simply offering a guarantee on the front end, what do you think the impact of that will be? More people will trust you. Therefore, more people will buy from you. It is patently true in the service industry that a guarantee helps. And I'll ask all of the people watching this that have bought Igniter, that have invested in our Create Your Dream Firm program. Igniter, money back guarantee. Create Your Dream Firm program, $50,000 billing guarantee over 12 months. Like you read and you see that and you go, well, they're putting my money where their mouth is, right? Like, so I suppose that I should trust them, right? Like it gives me more of a reason to trust them, because if they don't live up to their promise, what did I really lose? Not a whole lot. So let's talk about some good examples that I've seen deployed very successfully in the accounting industry. And one thing to just really be careful about here is I always want to say, don't overpromise and under-deliver, right? You want to avoid that as much as humanly possible, because it's easy. Oh yeah, big promises, and then when it comes time to show up, and I bet some of you may have been burned by big promises that, quite frankly, the techniques or strategies or the services, they couldn't cash on those promises. So here are some. I'll explain some of the guarantees that I used when I ran my firm that I thought were very successful. So the first guarantee that we would use, and this is something that my father taught for decades at New Clients Incorporated, that was very successful for signing up many clients. And it was known originally as the West Coast close. It was considered a closing technique, but I really think about it from the perspective of the strength of the guarantee and what it really meant to say this. When I was doing presentations, I wouldn't even use it as a closing technique. I would simply use it as a way to build more trust in our services. So the West Coast close, or the 90-day money back results assurance guarantee, essentially works like this. It says, like, listen, okay, I understand that you don't really fully know the quality of the service that we provide, but I want to make sure that it's completely risk-free for you. So when you sign up for our monthly services, we are going to guarantee in writing that if for any reason you are dissatisfied after 90 days, we will give you 100% of your monthly investments back. Please notice I didn't use the F word there. That's fee. We don't use the F word. So I'll give you 100% of your monthly investments back to you. Now, a lot of you, when you hear that, I know what the initial reaction is, but what happens if they get all of this wonderful service and then they ask for their money back? Doesn't happen. I'm just gonna like be as clear as possible about it. Out of all the clients I signed up in my accounting firm, 0 asked for their money back under that clause. 0, not a single one, because here's the deal. You meet your promise. You do what you say you're going to do. You deliver the incredible client experience, the incredible value you have. Who's going to ask for their money back? That's not the way this works, just to be clear. And even if they do, if it helps you convert, let's just say 25% more, and that's what most of the data I've seen on guarantees increases sales, like 25% more. Like imagine converting 25% more of the people you speak to because you're willing to offer a guarantee. Let's say 1 out of every 10 people decides to take advantage of that, which is not even remotely close to possible. Do you come out net positive, right? Do the math. If the answer is yes, you should be offering a guarantee. Okay, so that's on the monthly services side. Now, I came up with a different guarantee when I was running my firm that I liked a lot more, because one of the things that came up routinely in my conversations with small business owners was I got hit with a penalty. And I said, empathy, I'm sorry that happened. That would not happen with us. And he said, that's what the old accounting firm said, right? Like, again, like this is what happened. You're saying the same thing they said. What's the difference going to be? And I had no good response. I was just sort of like, you should trust us because credentials, because experience. And they're like, I don't really care. How do I know it's going to be any different? And I'm like, I got to figure out a way around this. And so after some conversations and some internal, I'll just say internal process building, I said, what is the likelihood that if we maintain our responsibilities to the highest level, that we could offer something that says, if you get hit with a penalty while under our guidance, we will pay for that penalty on your behalf. I was like, is it possible for us to even make a promise that big? And after talking it over, we said, yeah, we've got the internal systems in place that would allow us to track and measure whether or not they were responsive to our requests, right? Because that's the crux. Like, as long as they're responsive to you and you know what you're doing and you know exactly what they need and you know how to keep them in compliance, there should be no problem with offering that. But that to me is like the strength of the systems you have for delivering on your promises. If you have incredible fulfillment processes and systems where nothing is falling through the cracks, Tax Dome, what's up? If you have that, you should have the confidence to offer something like that. So I'll give you another quick example of a story that happened when I offered that particular guarantee and when I had to honor that guarantee, right? Because this one is a little bit more precarious. And I know that it's not quite the same thing as the 90-day money back guarantee, but so I started offering this to my clients. I said, to my new clients, prospective clients, and of course the old ones, I said, hey, this is what we're doing now. We really stand by our promises. We don't want you to have these bad experiences. And we know that you've had them with other firms. And so when you get hit with a penalty, we will pay that penalty on your behalf. Now, of course, there was small text and conditions. In other words, if you ignore our inquiries for information, we will not pay the penalty on your behalf. So I have two stories, one good, one, well, they're both good in my opinion, but one good and one where we messed up. So, sorry, one where we didn't mess up, one where we did mess up. That's the proper way of saying it. So on the one where we did mess up, because it happens, right? Like, especially now during tax season, time is at a premium. You got things coming at you from all different directions. And so we had this one client, a couple $100 per month bookkeeping client. I still remember her to this day, Tanya. She was a great client. She ran like a Spanish bodega in Camden. She was awesome. And so anyway, she literally signed up because of that guarantee. Like, I told her that and she was like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, I promise, it's in writing. We will do this for you. If you get hit with a penalty, we will pay for it. She's like, "All right, I'm going to give you guys a shot." White boy in Camden presenting like that. So anyway, point is like, yeah, Tanya, we got your back. So she was applying for a UEZ credit, an unimpoverished, UEZ credit. I'm trying to think of what the acronym means. It's been a while. It's basically like something related to like underdeveloped economic zone or something like that. And so anyway, she sent us everything. She pinged us once or twice about it. It was during tax season and we dropped the ball. There's no other way to say it. Like, it was clear as day because we were able to track in our system communications outbound, inbound. And the penalty was like, I don't know, like $600 or $700, something like that. It wasn't like it hurt, but I was like, yeah, Tanya, you're right. We dropped the ball. I'm so sorry. I apologize. We're going to pay this for you. And she's like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, that's what the guarantee said." And she's like, "I didn't actually think you'd do it though." I was like, "But it was in writing and we're an honorable service company. So like, that's what we're going to do." And she's like, "I am so impressed that you are willing to do that." She became one of our biggest referral sources because of the fact that we live by that guarantee. So that's the one side of that equation that I think is worthwhile, is like, if you stand by your guarantee, because everyone's human, no one's expecting you to be perfect. Things happen. Best systems in the world, things can still happen and it's okay. But are you going to own it? And are you going to do the right thing? And most of you, the answer is yes. Not everyone, unfortunately, but for the vast majority of you, the answer is yes. I'll own that. I'll make it right. And then you have not just the client, you have a raving fan for life. There's a big difference there. Huge difference. And it's different in terms of the monetary investments that you're going to be able to make inside of your firm, because talk about trust. I mean, unbelievable. However, there's also the flip side of this, which I also think is a fantastic filter for bad clients, which is that if you choose to use that guarantee, which is incredibly powerful, some people may choose to take advantage of it but you don't have to let that happen. And so what that means is we had one client. She was a very nice individual. However, for one reason or another, she felt that there were things that were our fault that, quite frankly, were not. Now, going back to the system, we were tracking every outbound and inbound piece of communication. So we could see that very clearly. We had, I don't know, easily double-digit outbound attempts to collect. I think it was just something related to sales tax off the top of my head. Outbound double-digit attempts to collect information to avoid this penalty. Because again, we don't want it to happen, and we got to document that with letters, calls, emails, you name it. Sure enough, she gets hit with the penalty. Okay, you owe that, right? No, you have to pay for it. No, no, incorrect. Here's why. Back and forth a little bit happens, okay? But again, I don't want that type of client, and you don't want that type of client. That's going to happen in another way, potentially in a larger format eventually. So needless to say, we parted ways, and that happens, right? Like, not every client's for you, and you're not for every client. But I would trade that experience for the one that I had with Tanya 1,000,000 times over. A million times over. That is a fundamentally powerful win. Like, it's a huge win to build that level of trust and also be able to use it as a filter for people who are going to try and like manipulate things because they just don't want to respond to you. Like, I'm not here to play that game. I know you guys aren't here to play that game. So again, offer a guarantee. You're selling an intangible service. It's not like I'm saying like, hey, like, look at how good this water bottle is. Here, hold this water bottle. Like, look, it's stainless steel. Like, feel how good it feels. Like, they can't do that. They can't hold it and understand what it's going to do for them. They have to go through the experience over time with you to understand how valuable you are. And in order to increase the likelihood that someone wants to go on that journey with you, how can you reverse the risk? That's the best way of thinking about it. Is like, you're asking them to take all the risk in the relationship. You pay me and hopefully I meet my promises. Okay. I hope you do too, but what if you don't? I hope you do, but what if you don't? No problem. We'll offer a guarantee. I've got your back, right? Like, I'm here to make sure I live by my promise and put your money where my mouth is. All of a sudden, that's a totally different conversation, right? Like, that is a fundamentally different place to be in a sales conversation when you have the ability to offer a guarantee that you stand by your promises in the service space. And there's a lot of people who just don't. And because they might somewhat intrinsically know, call me crazy, they might somewhat know that they can't meet their promises. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you're just uncomfortable with it. And I'm curious, if you're uncomfortable with offering a guarantee in any way, shape, or form, drop a comment down below. If you have a different idea of a guarantee, I'd love to know if you offer something different besides the 90-day money-back guarantee. If you offer, I think I called it like a penalties assurance guarantee. I can't remember exactly the way I phrase it when I ran my firm, but point is I'd love to know if you guys have additional ideas on guarantees. And if you want to close more deals with your prospective dream clients, if you want to build trust faster, well, here's the one thing you can do. It doesn't cost you a penny, doesn't cost you anything to be able to start to do that. So I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson of Free Tool Friday. Enjoy the extension on peak selling season. That's the right mentality. That's the mentality of a dream firm leader. I will see each and every single one of you next Friday. Remember, only you can create your dream firm, but we help you every step of the way. Talk to you all next Friday. Have a fantastic, fantastic weekend.